For decades, Hollywood has mastered the art of endings: dramatic, tragic, and final. Careers collapse, scandals erupt, and suddenly the world is told a legend is gone forever. Heart attacks, overdoses, crashes, suicides, case closed. Or is it? What if some of these endings were never real at all? What if the most convincing performances didn't happen on screen, but in secret, carefully planned disappearances that fooled millions? Tonight, we're questioning the stories we were told and uncovering what may be the greatest illusions in entertainment history. Behind the official stories are details that never quite fit. Bodies identified without proper forensic checks, death certificates filled with errors, cremations rushed before questions could be asked. Journalists, former law enforcement officers, and researchers have spent decades pointing out these inconsistencies. They argue that for a select group of celebrities, death may not have been the end, but a doorway to escape fame, danger, debt, or unbearable pressure. The most famous case of all belongs to Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. On August 16, 1977, Elvis was reportedly found dead in his bathroom at Graceland in Memphis. The cause was listed as a heart attack, yet the identification of his body was handled in an astonishingly informal way. No fingerprints, no dental records. His devastated father, Vernon Presley, identified the body while heavily sedated. Even more puzzling, Elvis's tombstone misspelled his middle name, a detail friends insist he would never have allowed. One day later, a man using Elvis's long-known alias, John Burroughs, purchased a one-way ticket to Buenos Aires, Argentina. For many fans, it looked less like a death and more like a carefully timed disappearance. Another case that refuses to rest is that of Andy Kaufman. When Kaufman allegedly died of cancer in 1984, confusion followed almost immediately, and he had built his entire career on deception and had openly discussed faking his own death. As the ultimate performance, his illness was kept secret until the end, and questions surrounded his death certificate. Years later, a staged revelation at the Andy Kaufman Awards reignited speculation that his death was just another act. Whether alive or not, Kaufman succeeded in creating permanent doubt, which may have been his true goal all along. The mystery surrounding Tupac Shakur is darker and more dangerous. After being shot in Las Vegas in 1996, Tupac was cremated almost immediately, leaving no opportunity for independent verification. In the months before his death, he spoke frequently about escape and reinvention. He adopted the name Machiavelli, inspired by Niccolò Machiavelli, who wrote about faking death to deceive enemies. His album The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory, fueled speculation, especially when an extraordinary amount of new music continued to appear after his death. Many believe Cuba, where his aunt Assata Shakur lived under political asylum, would have been the perfect place to vanish. Then there's Marilyn Monroe, found dead in her Brentwood home in 1962, officially ruled a suicide. Her death has been questioned for decades. The timeline of that night contains unexplained gaps, witness accounts conflict, and medical findings don't fully align with how her body was discovered. Marilyn's relationships with John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy placed her dangerously close to power and secrets. Some researchers believe she became a national security risk. Instead of being silenced, they argue, she may have been quietly removed from public life. In the years that followed, women in psychiatric facilities across Canada and Europe claimed to be Marilyn, astonishing doctors with their detailed knowledge of her life. The death of Jim Morrison, lead singer of The Doors, added another chapter to Hollywood's unresolved mysteries. Morrison allegedly died in Paris in 1971, yet no autopsy was performed. Only one person, his girlfriend Pamela Corson, ever identified the body. Morrison had spoken openly about wanting to escape fame and focus on poetry. His own father, a U.S. Navy admiral, later admitted he never saw official confirmation of his son's death. Sightings of a quiet poet living in Oregon and other remote places kept the rumors alive. In modern times, the case of Michael Jackson has become one of the most debated. When the king of pop reportedly died in 2009, he was facing enormous debt and intense pressure from the This Is IT tour. Almost immediately, questions rose about the timeline of his death, footage showing a figure leaving a coroner's van, and the later appearance of Dave on Larry King Live fueled speculation. Jackson's lifelong fascination with illusion, disguise, and reinvention made the idea of a final disappearing act difficult for some fans to dismiss. So did these legends truly die? Or did they choose to disappear from lives that had become too dangerous, too heavy, or too public to survive? What we know is this: the icons the world adored vanished, leaving behind questions that refused to fade. Whether by fate or design, their stories remain unfinished. And maybe that unanswered mystery is the final illusion they left behind. Thanks for watching.